Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. I am the Counselor of Cash, Sia Nejad, and we have a great MLB and soccer intensive show today. I see everybody's already hitting the like button. Aaron Bailey, Nola Face, Liddy, Rick Funcannon, Scott Davis, Mark Buckholtz, Reed Phillips, among others in this chat. Let's see how we did on the Friday recap screen. And oh boy, there's a lot of wins. There's a lot of losses. In fact, the same amount. We have 9 wins and 9 losses, a pretty checkered day. I will mention a few, not just a couple, but a few plus money plays that came in. But either way, 9 and 9's just not really going to get it done. We're certainly not making a ton of money with a 9 and 9. So we got to do better. That was a lot of picks, by the way. We got to do better. And we're going to do it with the stars of today's show. I believe it's tax day. Is that right, Bucks? Oh my gosh. Buckets. Wardrobe malfunction. What is going on with is that red or is that orange, Buckets? Are we wearing the same shirt?
It's whatever color the reds are. I assume it's red, but maybe I'm a fool for thinking that.
I love the optics of this. We're twins. Matt Snyder, Sniper is in the house. AMags is in the house. Is it, Sniper, I should probably be asking you, is it tax day today?
I thought it was tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow. I think it's April 15th. It's April 15th. All right, Buckets, you've got 24 hours to file your taxes, buddy. I do want to start done. Before top button Bucket says KC3. I was so blinded by the color of your shirt and mine that I didn't even realize, Buckets, you have the top button. How are you feeling? Are you restricted at all?
I legitimately, and I say this with nothing but love and respect for you, Sia, I don't get how you do it because I don't think I'm going to get through the show without ripping this off. This is egregiously uncomfortable. It makes zero sense to me.
So keep in mind, AMags with the zipper up. Now, I practiced law for 13 years. I was always wearing a suit and tie, really just a shirt and a tie unless I was in court. So like the tie was always up. So it always felt like this. So I'm accustomed to this feeling. It gives me some level of comfort. Sniper, I'll tell you what doesn't give you comfort. Your Chicago Cubs lost an ace. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, Justin Steele is out for the season. He's going to have surgery on his elbow. We don't know yet if it's Tommy John or if they're going to do some kind of hybrid on there. Regardless, the result is the same for 2025 and the Cubs. If you think this is going to affect the futures, maybe you want to jump on the Brewers or something like that in the division. I'm not going to do that. I still think the Cubs are the best team. Look, the Cubs right now just won a series over the Padres, won a series over the Rangers, won a series in LA over the Dodgers. The Cubs are rolling right now. Obviously, the Steele news is bad. I would expect the front office to try to jump on someone pretty quickly. Like, I don't know, AMags, Sandy Alcantara, maybe, something like that. If you remember last year, the Marlins traded Luis Arraez pretty early in the season to the Padres. So if the Cubs try to strike right now, offer a good deal, they do have a good farm system, maybe the Marlins will take that.
AMags, your response to that?
I totally agree. I love the Alcantara name that he mentions because that's the one that I was thinking of too. Like if you go out and get someone, who can you go and get right now that I think still would be reasonable for them to do? You're going to get a ton of the season. They need a guy. I think that would be a great pickup. Maybe Dylan Cease as like maybe a number 2 there, but.
Ray Brown says, Steele was my boy, made me plenty of money. And I saw Japan in the chat. He said he's been wearing the top button for 2 years now. And I think he was doing that as a result of me. We've had that. He and I have had that conversation before. He says it's life-changing. Absolutely love to see that. Another thing people love to see, AMags, we go from bad news to good news. We do have a star pitcher that's out, but a star pitcher that's coming back this week as well.
Yeah, Spencer Strider. We will finally get to see him return to the Braves rotation. They could use it. I know, as we've all seen their slide early in the season, they could definitely use a stud like that. And I believe it was his last start, his final tune-up. He struck out 13 batters. So I definitely am excited to see Spencer Strider come back. Go trade for him in your fantasy leagues, maybe if somebody's sleeping a little bit.
All right. Dustin Wiles says, Rory, what a Sunday. Hopefully you caught our Masters recap. It was me, Jason Sobel, then Rick Gaiman, and Josh Mullinex joined us on that show as well. If you haven't checked that out, listen to it. It was a really nice, fun recap of the Masters. And I will note that the Early Wedge is on this SportsLine YouTube channel at 7 o'clock tonight. It's going to be me and Mike McClure going back and forth with our favorite DFS plays for the RBC Heritage. All right, we got to get to some plays for today. And I noticed some people in the chat have some plays as well. Rob Johnson, we're going to get to your plays. And we've got 2 baseball cappers here to answer all of your questions. But let's start with soccer and buckets. Before you go, I want to shout out Aaron Bailey, who's just a longtime member of this family. His daughter Madison is 6 years old, and she's homesick from school, I think, not feeling very well. So Madison, get better. I would like to dedicate these picks to you, but that's kind of weird because you shouldn't be betting. But I do want to say, Madison, I hope you're feeling better. And Aaron Bailey, there you go on that. All right, Buckets, let's talk about the pitch.
Yeah, we definitely can't dedicate sports gambling to the 6-year-old daughter, but I can dedicate this pick to you, Aaron Bailey. When it hits, buy you and the daughter something nice for dinner, maybe some Panera, not sponsored, just throwing it out there. I am looking at, what do you mean? We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that later.
Are they a sponsor? I don't know.
You just called them overrated, so hopefully not. We're looking at the return of a wonderful league in the Swedish Allsvenskan. We've got a matchup between Halmstad taking on, I know it's not pronounced this, but it's spelled exactly like oyster, so that's how I'm going to say it. You got to deal with me on this one. We're taking oyster, draw no bet at -110. When a team gets promoted from a lesser league to the top flight in any country, one of two things happens. The first option is what we see in the Premier League currently. Teams get promoted, they get the crap kicked out of them, they get relegated and fall right back down. The second thing we see happen is when teams like Como get promoted, or when teams like Oyster get promoted. These teams that just come up, they get promoted, and they say, hey, we're not going to sit back and try to not lose. We are going to fight like hell, and we are going to make every match miserable for every opponent we play. This Oysters team is doing incredible to start off their season, even though we're only 2 games in. And they're playing a Halmstad team that is the only team in all of Sweden that is yet to score a single goal. They have played 2 matches. They have scored 0. They've conceded 6. Oysters looks like the better team, even if they weren't a newly promoted side. This is a team that is doing really, really well right now, and I'm very excited to see how they play in this league. I think they finish in the top half, and I definitely think they're better than this Halmstad side. I'm taking Oysters draw no bet at -110 to give myself a safety net, but I do think they win this outright. There we go, at +175 as well.
All right, there's a lot of food conversation here, especially since you upped the ante with oysters. Buckets. We have Chris Kish says Panera's okay, Potbelly elite. I'm not sure I buy into either of those takes, frankly.
Wolf.
I mean, I think Mark's probably on the right track there. Joe, no thank you. But I do oysters. People either love them or they hate them. Sniper, we're going to get to your picks in a second. Love or hate, Buckets, you start.
So this should show how much I like this bet, because I despise oysters. I've had them one time and I was fighting for my life for the rest of the weekend. So keeping my bias aside, really like this Oysters club, but not a fan of the Oysters food.
I'm a seafood guy, but I do not like oysters at all. AMags, go.
Yeah, I'm not an oyster, clam, raw bar type of a guy, but I will give a shout out to my cousin who is a clam and oyster farmer in Cape Cod.
What's his name or her?
Jimmy.
Shout out to Jimmy. We got shout outs
Jimmy.
to Madison. Shout outs to Jimmy. Sniper, what's the answer? Love or hate?
Oh, hate. But usually we agree, Sia, but I'm not a seafood guy at all. So no.
So no seafood. Well, we agree on oysters. All right, so there you go. That's something. Okay, Sniper, we got a lot of MLB stuff in the chat. This is a big MLB slate. I mean, like basketball, obviously, like no games today. I do want to mention at 12:30 on this SportsLine YouTube channel, if you're subscribed to SportsLine, maybe you've already seen this. We've got a special 12:30 show today, like in 2.5 hours, on like a lot of the play-in stuff and things of that nature. Is that a Masters hat? Oh, that's a Pacers hat. So tune in to that. We're going to have like all the heavy hitters. Mike McClure, I'm probably leaving some out. Prop stars, Mackenzie Brooks is going to be here. Zach Simony. So you're going to want to be in tune to that show. This is going to be more of a soccer and baseball show. So put your questions or your bets in the chat. But Sniper, I need 2 prop picks from you.
Okay, the first one really jumped out at me. We're looking at the Royals facing the Yankees in the Bronx, and it is Carlos Carrasco on the mound for the Yankees. And the Royals team total is only 3.5. So yes, there's juice on that, but Carlos Carrasco has gotten knocked around a lot these last few years. 6.80 ERA in 2023, 5.64 last year. So far, 7.71 this year. He can be home run prone. Hey, Vinny Pasquantino, lefty-righty matchup, short porch and right field. Maybe look at that home run prop there. He's gotten hit hard a lot these last 3 years. So I like the Royals to jump up over that 3.5 there. I also, last time I looked, the Royals were plus money to win the game. Maybe not a bad play there either, but I'm going to go strictly on the run line or the team total here with the Royals over 3.5. Also, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Paul Skeens, 6.5 strikeouts. I'm going under this one. It is rare, that Skeens goes under 6.5 strikeouts. But so far this year, 20 strikeouts and 18 in the third innings. He's gone 7, 6, and 7 respectively in strikeouts so far. He has not been very efficient with his pitches. I don't think he's going to get through 6 innings, or at least not into the 7th inning. The Nationals were very, very tough to strike out in each of the last 2 years. So far in the small sample this year, they've been about middle of the road. I think they're going to make some contact. It is a contact hitting team. We're looking at 5 or 6 strikeouts for Skeens today. So I am going to go under on the plus money, under 6.5.
All right, we got a juicy bet and we got a plus money bet. I'll tell you, Sniper, there's a lot of people who are asking about Bobby Witt props in the chat. Anything from hits, stolen bases, you name it. Any thoughts on Bobby Witt?
Always good to go over on Bobby Witt. Always. That's a great play. Absolutely.
Right. The Sox Nation says Bobby Witt Jr. MVP. That he might have been the topic of conversation in our futures show. Sniper and then AMags, your thoughts?
Yeah, he was my play on MVP heading into the year. The biggest competition, obviously, in the American League's Aaron Judge. So, yeah, I like it. I like Witt a lot.
AMags.
Yeah, I would have taken the Royals team total if Sniper didn't send it in before me. Now, I definitely think that just by the amount that Carrasco's been hit hard, he's been barreled up. You're in Yankee Stadium. You're going to be on the away team. I think it's a solid play. And as we know, I love Bobby Witt.
We've got a couple of questions and comments. I'm going to try to read a couple of them real quick because they're baseball related. AMags, I'll start with you here. He says, I know it's early in the, this is KC3. I know it's early in the Major League Baseball season, but are the Giants for real after they took the series in New York?
I guess, you could say that they are. I'm not truthfully like a really big believer in them still. But, at least right now, it does look like they're clicking. Jung-Ho Lee looks a lot better than I thought he was going to look. I'll give him that.
Sniper.
Yeah, they're good. They're not 11-4 good, but nobody is. I mean, that would be like a 125, 130 win team. One thing about the Giants, I think that we've seen for the past 4 or 5 years is if you look at how good they seem like they should be on paper, they're usually always better than that.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like the Giants and the Brewers are always just,
like, hey, how are they this
paper,
good?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk some more baseball. AMags, you've got some props, soccer. I'll come back to you to see if we have any soccer plays. But the SportsLine picks today, again, it's a heavy baseball day outside of our 12:30 show, which, of course, you'll want to join. Phillies money line -126. That is from Matt Severance. And then we've got the Tigers -1.5 from Bruce Marshall at +115. Of course, the Phillies actually playing those San Francisco Giants today. Tigers -1.5 at plus money is the other play here. All right, we got to get to some more picks. We got to see what's going on in the chat. I know it looks like Madison heard us giving the well wishes, and she was smiling ear to ear. You love to see that. Let's take a quick break and hear a message from our partners.
She knows, and I know she knows.
We're back on the early edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas buckets. Anything before we get to AMags 2 props? Anything in the chat soccer related?
Nothing soccer related, but I felt left out because usually it's not me with a bunch of other baseball guys. So I wanted to contribute something baseball to the group. So I'm going to throw out a parlay. Just going to throw it out there. I want to get some opinions, some thoughts from you guys on that. It's a 2-leg parlay, 2 players to get a stolen base. I've got O'Neal Cruz for Pittsburgh to steal a base and James Duran from Boston to steal a base, plus 1,050 on MGM.
Jaron Duran.
What did I say?
I said Jaron.
What is you said James, but it's Jaron.
Okay, sorry. Yes. No, his brother Jaron. Yeah, we'll go with him.
Yeah. Yes.
Stolen base parlay, AMags and Snyder.
Duran's a good one, but I don't know if O'Neal Cruz will even get on base. If he might hit a home run instead of getting on first. But yeah, I'm down with that. That's okay.
Okay.
So if I may, on my extra innings Saturday, it was the first one we did on Twitter Spaces here. We did the and if you're catching this right now, every Saturday it will be a half-hour expert chat, like 10:30 to 11 in the Discord, and then at 11 o'clock we do the Spaces. And we talked about this specific thing, stolen bases. And I don't know who it was, but someone in the chat said thank you for talking about it, because what we mentioned was that Keibert Ruiz, the catcher for the Nationals, is one of the worst in baseball at throwing out runners. We know O'Neal Cruz is one of the fastest men in all of baseball. He's looking to, be up there, at least up there in the top 3 or 4 for stolen bases. I don't know if he'll lead the league, but he definitely wants to try. So I actually love the O'Neal Cruz stolen base, and anybody when they're facing Keibert Ruiz, when they're facing the Rays, they also have trouble throwing guys out. Jose Trevino on the Reds. Look at the Baseball Savant catcher dashboard, and you can see who the worst catchers are throwing runners out.
That certainly seems like a big part of the analysis. All right, AMags, we've got a hitter prop, we've got a pitcher prop. What you got?
Yeah, and they're in the same game, and I guess you could say I'm a glutton for punishment, Sia. And hold on, same way I'm a glutton for punishment. I have to take this down a little bit. This is like almost choking me. I don't know how you guys do this. But I last couple of nights, I've taken Shohei Ohtani and different plays on the Dodgers, and I have been taken to the cleaners by the Cubs. So I'm going right back to them as they face one of the worst teams in baseball now, if not the worst, in the Colorado Rockies. And you could say one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball, Antonio Senzatella. Look, he's a guy that can pitch around trouble. He's able to give up 8 to 10 hits in a start, but still not give up runs. Like, he's definitely a crafty veteran where he can get in and out of trouble, but he gets into trouble is kind of the point. And so tonight I'm going over 5.5 hits for him. We're getting it at plus money, actually. Really nice odds. I think it should be at worst like minus 110. Like, we shouldn't be getting into the plus money on this for a 6th hit. This season, Senzatella, he's not given up less than 8 hits in any of his 3 starts. He's only gotten into the 5th inning he's only finished the 5th inning in one of those, gotten into the 6th inning in 1 start. He's not getting very deep into the games, but he's still giving up a bunch of hits. It's loud contact too. It's hard contact. The fastball averages almost 94 miles an hour exit velocity. At 95, it's considered a hard hit ball. So you're averaging nearly a hard hit ball on his fastball every time a batter touches it. I do think that after those last few really rough games for the Dodgers here, even the one that they won against the Cubs, it wasn't like they were scoring in bunches. Ohtani's got to get on track. Bett's got to get on track. Will Smith, even, we saw him with a couple hits last night. I think that he could do some damage in this against Senzatella and that fastball. So I'm taking Senzatella over on the hits, and it leads right into the Ohtani pick. Look, I'm just going right back to it. Back-to-back games, this guy is over 105 miles an hour on at least one of his contacted balls. Again, last night he hits a ball really hard, and it's just right at a fielder. It's right at the right fielder, but a line drive that should be a double, right? It's got a 690 batting average, I think, on that ball that was caught for him last night by Tucker. It's like at some point these hits are going to fall. We're getting plus money again here on the hits, runs, and RBIs. So Ohtani over 2.5 hit run RBI plus 110. I really like that one with the rest of the lineup and what they could do against Senzatella tonight.
I'd love to find, and this is such a novice play, but I'd love to find a parlay piece with the Dodgers money line, which is like minus 350. Like, if I could find something I was confident in and just go ahead. Amen.
Well, so I was actually going to mention it, and you reminded me. I kind of forgot here. I was just poking around. I like to go from sportsbook to sportsbook. On Caesars, I know we're BetMGM, but on Caesars this morning, I found minus 130 for over 4.5 runs for the Dodgers paired with the money line. The over 4.5 runs was like minus 175, probably around where it should be. You're getting 40 cents off for them to win. I think after we saw what happened against the Padres with this Rockies offense, if the Dodgers score 5 runs tonight, they will win. So I like that one at minus 130 for the over 4.5 team total.
Yeah. Interesting. Sniper, your thoughts?
Yeah, I love that a lot. I mean, it's the most likely outcome here is a blowout Dodgers win where they score a lot of runs and they get right.
All right. There's a couple of questions in the chat. One from Rob Johnson looking at strikeout props. And I don't know, Sniper or AMags, either of you can field this. And there is a soccer question for you, Buckets, from Chris Kish. Skeens over 6.5 Ks. And he's talking parlay here. Scooble over 5.5 Ks. You parlay that as plus 120. But the parlay aside, are you looking for Skeens or Scooble to have a good game today from a strikeout department? AMags, I'll start with you.
So I'll go with Sniper and say the under on Skeens. I'll let him kind of take that one. But Scooble, I will say the over 5.5 here, I believe his number 6.5, right? So it's plus money to, I think, the top, over 6.5 to get the 7th. But I don't mind that. You're going to be in a controlled environment, right? So that's not bad against Milwaukee there. But what I was actually looking at for Scooble was more of like, can he get into over the 18.5 out? So get into the 7th inning. That was like plus 150. I thought that was pretty good value. So that's where I would go over the strikeouts. But Jeff Stenberg, I did see this, and I don't know if it's a comment somewhere. He said something about Seth Lugo because, of course, Seth Lugo strikeouts against the Yankees. We know Jeff. But if you remember last season, Seth Lugo turned up 10 strikeouts against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. I think that if you're going to, I think plus money starts at the 6th strikeout. I don't mind that.
Yeah. All right. That's interesting. And no, Sniper, you obviously have Skeens under strikeouts. What, anything on Scooble?
I looked at that actually. I was spooked a little bit by his strikeout rate this year is not near as high. But then I went back and looked at it in last year, the one time he faced the Brewers, he struck out 10. So it's, where do you feel? Do you feel like he's going to be huge tonight or not? The Brewers have not been that good against left-handed pitching, but it's such a small sample size. It's hard to totally go on that. I would lean to the over on that. But like I said, I got spooked a little bit by his lower strikeout rate this season. Maybe that's just being harmed by the one game against the Dodgers, the first game of the season. But we'll see. I lean over. I just wasn't that confident on it.
Go ahead, AMags.
At least to that point, when you look at like the underlying numbers for Skubal, it's a 117 stuff plus a 15.8% swinging strike. He actually, for zone swing percentage, he's the top zone swing, but one of the lowest zone contact. So I'm truthfully not that worried moving forward for him. And that's why actually, as I started looking at the numbers today, I was like, geez, his underlying numbers are great. I think he might be a little bit of a regression candidate for some of those actual strikeouts.
So somebody in the chat, I can't remember, everybody's so active. The chat just keeps kind of like reformatting here, but that parlay piece with the Dodgers, they were mentioning the Tigers. And then I thought, well, how about the Tigers first 5 with Skubal against Alexander matched with, again, kind of a novice. Like I'm not really trying to make a parlay an official play, but any thoughts on Tigers first 5, Dodgers money line parlay? It's like even money, I think.
I like
I'm on Tigers.
Yeah,
I'll be on Tigers side tonight. Yeah, I like that one.
Let's make that a community parlay, folks. Maybe we'll start incorporating that into the show. Buckets. Chris Kish says, any thoughts on Bournemouth money line plus 110 at home versus Fulham?
I like it. I would rather take Bournemouth 1.5 team total. It's minus 110, so you do lose about 10 cents there on the juice. But Bournemouth defensively has been pretty shambolic, to quote my good friend Martin Guru. So I'm just a little worried about how this game lies. My score prediction was actually going to be a 2-2 draw here. So I do like goals in this matchup on both sides, but money lines just always scare me a bit.
Also, Buckets, how you holding up with the top button?
Talking makes it worse. That's for sure.
This is like perfectly like GIF worthy. We're like right next to each other. Like this is fun. Can you go back to the 4 shot?
What is that?
I have no idea. Okay, so now let's wave to the camera. Let's wave to the camera like the Queen. Okay, well, not like that, but fair enough. All right. Let's take a look at the recap screen. I noticed GAWD talking NBA. We're gonna have a special NBA show today on the SportsLine YouTube channel at 12:30. Buckets, Homestead versus Oyster. Oyster draw no bet at minus 110. Snyper, Royals over 3.5 runs at minus 145. And Paul Skeens under 6.5 Ks at plus 125. Anthony Senzatella over 5.5 hits allowed plus 105. That's courtesy of AMags. And he also likes in the same game Shohei Ohtani over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs at plus 110. And don't forget, we did have some discussion of that Dodgers money line parlay with Detroit first 5. Let's take a look at the SportsLine picks. Phillies money line minus 126 from Matt Severance, and Tigers minus 1.5 at plus 115 from Bruce Marshall. I don't have a pick today. I'll come with a pick tomorrow, but fortunately we had Buckets on here and 2 of the greatest minds that we have to offer in Major League Baseball. What I love about Snyper and you, AMags, is that no matter what they throw at you in the chat, any question, any comment, any bet somebody likes, you guys are always there to answer it. So really appreciate you both. And I know we're going to have a long season together, which is really, really fun. Brandon Silva says, Buckets, you look like you were being held hostage with that wave. And then somebody else said, blink twice if you're okay. No blinking, man. Tough scene out here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you at 12:30. We'll see you again at 7 o'clock for the golf show. Thanks for being in here. Buckets is going to sit back and relax, undo that top button. He can breathe again. On behalf of Buckets, on behalf of the top button, on behalf of Madison and Aaron Bailey, on behalf of Sniper and AMags, and all of you in the chat, and of course, Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. Let's make it a positive day and a positive recap screen. We'll see you very soon at 12:30 and 7, and of course, tomorrow at 10 o'clock on the Early Edge. We rest our case.